Hey guys! So today's video is going to be a bit of a story time video of an experience that I had at work on Thursday and Friday. So if you did not know, I work in a gymnastics gym and I teach little kids gymnastics. And if you've ever been in a gymnastics gym, then you'll know that there are really large foam pits. They're just basically like a swimming pool filled with foam blocks. And as you can imagine, we have to clean those out. And I'd say we do it, well, I'm not sure how often we clean them, but we don't get new blocks every single time that we clean them. We only get new blocks every few years because they're like $3 a piece and you need like over 1,000 for one pit. If you're not familiar with what they look like, I will insert a picture of not one from our gymnastics gym, but just a random pit from Google Images. And so, as you can imagine, things tend to get lost in those pits and very difficult to get them back. So we're finding some pretty interesting stuff in there. And so I get there the first day of pit cleaning and I go into the back room and we're doing this thing to clean off the blocks where we take like big metal cages, we put the blocks inside and then we leaf blow them so that the dust comes off. And so I was outside holding a cage for someone when one of my bosses comes out and she's like, "You're an animal lover, right?" And I was like, yeah I am. And she's like, "'Cause we've got a mouse loose in the pit." And so I was kind of, I don't know, I was kind of apprehensive, I guess, about it because I do love them, but I've never picked up a mouse before, caught one, so let alone a wild mouse. So I was like, what happens if it bites me or something like that? And so I went over, and this other girl, Nicole, she's also an animal person, and she was looking around for it. And we have like these cones, just like a normal cone, and they put a cone over one of the mice. They found a baby and they got a cone over it. And I saw this guy, Steve. He works there and he is a coach, but he's also like the guy who does like the work, like the painting and all of like the jobs around there. And I guess he took a vacuum out of the shed out back and he opened it inside the gym instead of outside, so the mice got loose. And so I saw him, he lifted up the cone and he was like sweeping the baby mouse outside. He like was hitting it with the broom and he hit it out the door. And it was like, oh, it didn't die, but like it was still like, eh. And so then Nicole, she finds it, she finds the other mouse. It's like under the water fountain and it still has another baby mouse clinging to it, like eating from it. And she's trying to catch it, but then it jumps into the pit. And it's not the pit that we were planning on cleaning either. We have 3 pits. And so her and I are looking, because we're like, we can't be like sending kids in there with the knowledge that there are mice in it, right? Like, what if one like gets bit, or like, yes, they would probably die, the mice would probably die, but like, even so, we can't let people go in there if there's like a dead mouse in there. So we're looking and we start digging to the bottom and we are thinking we're gonna need to try and convince our bosses to clean out that one too so that we can like find them. And so we got the other pit done, the one that we were planning on doing, and we ended up having enough time to clear out the other one. And we couldn't find the mice in that pit. But the thing is, at the bottom of pits are a trampoline, and that helps the blocks to not get too squished, like it gives it a little bit more room to be pushed down. So the springs holding up the trampoline, it could have gone underneath and into like the basement part of the gym. So it could have gone down there, and that's better than it being in the pit, but still, like, I felt kind of weird still knowing that there are like mice in there and that we didn't get them all out. But then we come back the next day and we finish putting all of the good blocks back into that one that we had just cleaned out, and then our third pit, we were going to do that one that day. So we go over to the third pit. So this third pit is a very small one, and it has a rock wall, and then the trampoline in the ground is next to it. So we clean out the pit and we get some blocks back in, and then I guess they have to fix something underneath the trampoline. So one of my coworkers starts taking the springs off from around the edges so that someone can fit underneath and do something under it. And so then another one of our teachers, she goes underneath, and then I just heard her scream and she pops back up, and she said that the baby mouse is under the trampoline. And I don't know how it survived without its mom, but it did. And so Nicole went under the trampoline and she was trying to catch it, and it was really slow and really small. It was literally this big. Like, these are newborn mice, like freshly newborn, and this is the runt because that's the one that we think was the one clinging on to the mom. So she gets a cone and she puts it on top of the mouse, like covering it, and then we get her paper and she does like the thing where you put the paper underneath and stuff, and she brings it upstairs to our office, and she puts her sweatshirt in a box and then puts the mouse in the box. And I don't have any pictures of it, sadly, but I will insert just a picture of a random baby mouse that I think looks like it, just so you get an idea of the size and like what it looked like. And it was literally so cute. Its eyes were barely open, and it was so small, and it was so cute. Oh my gosh. So we gave it a little bottle cap full of water, and we gave it some peanut butter and some carrots just to like put it in there, see what it would have. And so I was with Nicole, and Nicole told me that the other two that got put outside could still be alive if that one is still alive. I forgot to say this earlier. I told you about the one that got swept out, but they swept one out, but then that night they swept out another one. So there are 3 baby mice in total. That was one of them, and the other 2 got swept outside, so they were somewhere outside. And so she says that we should go out and look for the baby mice because she wants to bring them to the vet or a rehab center or something and try and make them survive. And so I was down for that, definitely. And so her and I went outside, and we have a front lobby where like parents and people wait, and then we have a back lobby which is pretty much just for like team members. It has their cubbies in it and stuff like that. And we go outside and we have about 30 trash bags stacked up all around the edge of that lobby. And those are all filled with pit blocks that we were not keeping. So they were filled with pit blocks that were falling apart and gross and disgusting. And those had been there since the day before. So we just start looking around and we figure, okay, we just gotta start moving the bags, because if they are out there, they might have taken shelter under a bag. We're hoping they did not climb inside the bag, because that would be like tragic. They would suffocate in there. And our friend Colleen also came out and was helping us look, and so we're just moving the bags, and then about 10 minutes later Nicole lifts up a bag and she's like, oh my god, I found one. She actually found one of the baby mice underneath a bag, and he was alive. And this one was jumping around everywhere. He was so active. So they were trying to catch him, and I think I brought out like some little paper bowls because we didn't know what to use to catch him. So I brought those out, and then I ran back inside to get the cone and the paper from before, and we were trying to catch it, and then it starts climbing the brick wall of the building, and so we put a bowl over it, and we knock it into the cone, the mouse into the cone, and then we put a paper over it, and we bring it inside, and we put it in the box, and it was just like so funny. Catching that one was literally such a chore, and people kept like our friends inside who were like coaching kept like looking out because we're like screaming because it's getting away, and but we got it. And then Colleen had to go coach, so Nicole and I went back out by ourselves to go look for the third one, and we're moving the bags, and we've got like 5 bags left, and we still haven't found it until like 20 minutes, and so we keep moving them, and then we're standing there, and we're like, is it the last bag that we haven't moved? Because there's one more. I go over, and I push it aside, and what is sitting right there but the last baby mouse with its hands like this, just looking up at me all cute, and we found the third one. So we put the cone over it, and we got it. It wasn't that hard to get. It wasn't as hard to get as the other one. And we bring it inside and put it in the box, and I just cannot believe that we actually were able to find every baby mouse. Like, we actually went outside and were able to find the mice that had gone missing. Like, what are the odds of that happening? It was crazy. And so, we put them in the box, and Nicole, I believe she brought them to the vet near her house, because she was gonna see if they were, like, if possible, she was gonna release them, but if they needed to be, like, rehabbed and taken care of, then she would just, like, keep them as pets. I haven't heard back from her on how they're doing, but they were really cute, and I'm really happy that we got to save them, and I feel like I'm not very good at telling stories yet. I really wish that I had like recorded it, or that you guys could have been there, because it was such a good story, but I feel like I didn't tell it well enough. So, I hope that it wasn't boring, and I wish you guys could have been there, because it's like something that you just had to be there, because I can tell you about how crazy it was that we found the mice, but unless you are the person finding the mice, it's not really gonna, it's not the same. So I wish that you had been here, but I wish that you had been there, but you weren't. I'm sorry. So I hope that it wasn't boring. If you want some more stories, let me know, and I love you guys, and thank you so much for watching.